The concept that the deceased have the power to claw their way back from their graves is steeped in antiquity. And so too is the chilling desire to ensure the departed remain beneath the earth. Throughout the grim chapters of history, humans have employed a macabre arsenal of rocks, iron rods, sickles, padlocks, and other techniques as eerie safeguards against the reanimation of corpses. These bone-chilling practices seem to spring from a primal fear that if a corpse were to rise again, it might wreak havoc among the realm of the living. Scholars have proposed numerous theories regarding the origins of these fears about the walking dead. Some suggest that people who met their ends under abnormal or forbidden circumstances were believed to be more susceptible to reanimation. Others hypothesize that there was a fear that individuals who succumbed to certain afflictions could continue to spread their deadly diseases beyond the grave. Regardless of their reasons, the lengths to which people have gone to in order to keep the dead at rest are at once unnerving and fascinating. 1. Bury under rocks. The ancient Greeks, haunted by the thought of a corpse rising from its grave as a malevolent revenant, sought to avert this by interring bodies beneath heavy objects. This practice, as unearthed through archaeological findings, paints a grim and haunting picture of their burial rituals, where even the dead invoked unimaginable fear. Scene script. In the Dark Ages, a sense of dread shrouded the medieval Europeans too. They lived in the shadow of ghoulish superstitions about vampire-like creatures, echoes of horror that varied from one region to another. These chilling tales were more than just phantom fears. They were the haunting nightmares that pushed the limits of human imagination. Among the many ghastly beliefs were methods to prevent a lifeless body from rising from its grave, to sicken or annihilate the living. The most horrifying of these was driving an iron rod through the chest of the deceased. This gruesome act was believed to pin the dead to their graves, ensuring that they did not return from the abyss to spread death and despair among the living. Script section. Ghastly tales of vampires and other undead creatures have long been thought to aid communities in explaining the sudden onslaught of disease. Scholars posit that engaging in anti-vampire rituals that are chillingly dark, eerily haunting, and inconceivably horrific to the human mind, on the body of someone who had succumbed to a specific disease was seen as a deterrent. It was believed to prevent that person from rising from the dead and spreading their affliction. 1. Brick in mouth. Stories of vampires and other undead creatures may have helped communities explain outbreaks of disease. Scholars theorize that performing an anti-vampire ritual involving placing a cold, hard brick in the mouth of the deceased, a ritual so chilling and dark that it is nearly unimaginable for humans, was a method to prevent that person from rising and spreading their sickness. 1. Soil in mouth. In different regions across Europe, beliefs on how to keep the dead in their graves varied widely. People in some areas resorted to the horrifying, bone-chilling practice of placing a handful of earth in the mouth of the deceased. This was done with the unimaginable hope that it would prevent them from rising again to haunt the living. Scene script 1. The macabre ritual of the sickle. In the obsidian corners of Europe, a haunting belief prevailed: the placement of a sickle across a deceased person's neck. This dark practice emerged from the chilling conviction that it would thwart the corpse from rising again, thereby protecting the living from its grasp. 1. The unfathomable practice of locking the dead, a ritual utterly unimaginable to the uninitiated, involved the use of padlocks. Certain cultures, shrouded in mysticism, would eerily fasten padlocks on the feet of the departed, creating an ironclad assurance that they could no longer traverse the mortal world. 1. The dreadful finality of decapitation. In circumstances so extreme they defy comprehension, decapitation was employed as a chilling method to ensure the deceased remained so. The gruesome act of severing the head implanted an eerie belief that the corpse would be rendered incapable of reanimation. These practices, perhaps outlandishly strange to our enlightened minds today, are haunting reminders of the entrenched terror and superstitions that once shadowed death. They bear witness to a time when the living were driven to unimaginable lengths to shield themselves from perceived harm.